Hi there. Welcome to Remember the Flowers. Now, some of you may have been wondering when I would approach this visual novel. After all, it is somewhat impossible in this day and age to be a YouTuber who does furry visual novels as his main gig and not breach the topic of this visual novel at least once. It may surprise you to learn, therefore, that I have in fact done this before, or at the least been part of this before. A jolly good friend of mine, Icefang, has had me on to be in an episode of Remember the Flowers before, and you can go and watch that here if you would like. This is a reminder to myself to put an annotation on the screen right now, showing you where you can watch this video that I am referring to. Icefang is a very good friend of mine for a while now, actually, and he's very, very good at what he does. Very, very good. He's got an amazing voice, amazing depth and gravel that I am admittedly somewhat envious of. So, yes, here are your flowers to remember, Icy. Enjoy them, darling. Go and check them out, give them a subscribe if you'd like, but do that after this. Because after all, you're here to watch my take on it, I would hope. This is, surprisingly enough, my first visual novel that I ever read. It was May of 2022, and we were bored one night, a friend of mine and I, and he pulls this topic up. He's like, hey, can I show you this? And ever since that day, it was completely and utterly over for me. I swear to God, I have never been this ruined for something in my life. So cheers for that. You know who you are. Ground rules out of the way. This visual novel, as with every visual novel, is for an 18+ audience only. It is a safe for work visual novel, so it's not going to have any horny content. Some of you may be somewhat disappointed by that. If you are, all I can say is valid, but also you're a coward. Lighthearted. But no, this visual novel is definitely very much still 18+, so kindly click away off of this now if you are not comfortable with... I nearly gave it away. Whoops, that would have been a bad thing to do. I guess you're just going to have to figure it out. Use a little common sense, maybe. I know that's very much absent on the internet these days, but do me this one favor. With all of that rambling out of the way, my name is Pink Wisp. This is Remember the Flowers. Let's dive right into it, shall we? Lights, camera, action.
Hey, he's losing a lot of blood. Are you sure it's a good idea to just leave him?
Of course not. But we can't get back to that inn vehicle while all those guards are around.
But we can at least...
He'll be fine. We'll just keep him covered. Hey, help me move those crates.
I feel like I'm slipping in and out of consciousness. Where am I? Why can't I open my eyes?
Hey, don't worry. You'll be okay.
Who?
Shh. Just rest. We'll be back soon.
I can feel him lift my head and wrap something tight around it before placing something soft between me and the wall behind me.
That'll have to do for first aid. Okay, let's move out.
Right.
Wait. Where are you going? Where? Something hard hits my forehead, causing me to jerk my head up. If my lectures are so boring, feel free to leave. I look at my desk. He threw a chalk stick at me. We're on the 3rd row of the lecture hall, too. I don't know if I should be impressed or annoyed. Maybe I'm a little bit of both. Sorry, sir. I must have dozed off. I don't need you to tell me that. As a doctor, I'd hope not. I muttered to myself. What was that? Nothing. And with that, my professor scoffs and turns back towards the board, pulling a new stick of chalk from a box. What a geezer. I pick up the bit he threw at me. If I had some more confidence in my aim, I'd throw it right back at him. Hey, I know what you're thinking. I turn to my right, to Diana. You always seem to. It's not worth it. I know, but you can get back at him by proving yourself on the upcoming test. Gah, I forgot about that. The past few nights have been kind of a blur on account of... Were you up practicing again? Maybe. Diana sighs to that, to which I grimace. You've really nailed your impression of my mom. Well, what do you expect? You stay up all night, every night. Who wouldn't be concerned about that? I know. She's right, as much as I don't want to admit it. Sorry, I'm still adjusting to this new program, and I'm trying to figure out how to weave in my own personal projects. Diana pauses before placing an arm on my shoulder. No, don't be sorry. I shouldn't be nagging you, at least not this much. I laugh. No, I kind of appreciate it. It shows you care. Well, I'm glad that's coming through. I have always been a bit worried about you. You and me both. At the very least, you seem to be absorbing a lot of the information being thrown at you. It's almost unfair how well you do in the exams with how little you study. Well, it's all thanks to you. You've helped me a lot with figuring out my study habits. Clearly not enough. All right, how much sleep did you get last night? Irrelevant. I'm sure. I tried to yawn discreetly into my hand, but I guess it wasn't discreet enough as our professor whips around and zeroes in on us. I can feel Diana's arm tense up on my shoulder, as if we got caught doing something promiscuous. Something I should be made aware of, you two? Well, Diana stands up. Well, you see, he was just helping me understand the new material about the frontal cortex. I was having trouble wrapping my head around it. She's trying to play it off. Oh, is that so? Diana, I expected better from you. And to not associate with anyone who could drag you down. I feel myself getting heated. Who the hell does this dick think he is? Would the fine gentleman like to stand up and share with the rest of the class? There are some whispers and murmurs across the room, all directed at us. I look at my peripheral. Diana has that, oh, I fucked up look on her face. Still, I stand up. With all due respect, sir, which isn't much. I'm aware you're on tenure, but I don't think it's wise to force your job on your unemployed students. Or did you forget how much our tuition costs, along with giving a proper explanation on the frontal cortex? Gasps erupt from the rest of the class. I feel hot in the face, but I'm keeping cool. I can't say the same for our professor. I think he just snapped his new stick of chalk in two. I can see him squirm to find some kind of legal retort. Tenure or not, I'm pretty sure throwing shit at me is grounds for removal. Maybe not, but I'm not going to crack for the likes of him. I shift my hand to my hip. I'm waiting, Professor. Now he's the one looking right in the face, more so out of anger. I bet that's the most blood flow he's gotten in quite a while. He grumbles something insulting under his breath before turning to angrily write with his now broken chalk. That's what I thought, asshole. I sit back down and take a deep breath. I'm not cut out for these kinds of performances. Neither is Diana. We look at each other somewhat mortified before bursting out in laughter. It's thankfully covered by the bell. I help Diana gather her notes. She has a real knack for organized chaos. I guess I've rubbed off on her as well. We make our way out to the lecture hall, still laughing. Glad to see you've been taking notes from Damien. Oh yeah? How so? Well, you were a pretty timid guy growing up. I remember having to beat up your bullies for you. To be fair, you were pretty good at Kung Fu. Damn right! She shows off a standard kick. I have to admit, I wish I had her coordination. What's your point, though? Well, let's see. How long have you been dating Damien? I think our first anniversary is coming up. Oh, wait, really? I'll need to plan something. Anyways. Wait, don't change this subject. Anyways, as I was saying, you were pretty quiet growing up. I'm sure you kind of grew out of it a bit, but once you met him, you started getting, I don't know, more confident? What can I say? He's my better half. I give an exaggerated gay sigh, to which Diana snorts. Well, he certainly has left an impression on you. I guess being around that star of the college basketball team will do that to you. Oh my god, stop! Someone's gonna hear you. I tried to shush her, but she just covers another laugh with her hand. Guess you got some more confidence to build. Besides, weren't you two on the Jumbotron together at the end of the last game? I think I'm getting a phone call. Diana crosses her arms as I struggle to pull my phone out. She has a knowing expression on her face. I slide my phone on and hold it to my face. Hello? Oh, hey, Mom. Yeah, no. School's going great. Yeah. Yeah, no. I'm still adjusting, but it's going okay. And then my phone starts actually ringing and vibrating in my hand, ruining my attempt at fooling Diana. Who am I kidding? Who would be fooled by that? I think your phone is ringing. Thank you for telling me. I'll be picking it up now. I give a slightly annoyed huff as I actually go to answer a phone call. It's from Damien, and my face immediately brightens. Hello?
Hey, sorry to call. We're about to head out for our afternoon run and didn't have time to text. I just wanted to know if we're still on for tomorrow night.
No worries. And yeah, I'll make sure everything's ready. You make sure to drink plenty of water, okay?
Okay, you got it, dude. See you at the cafeteria for dinner.
You know it. Love you. Stay safe.
Love you too.
The exaggerated smooch Damien makes is loud enough for Diana to hear. I almost cringe, but eventually do the same thing for him. I can hear him giggle before hanging up. I sigh happily as I stuff my phone in my pocket before turning my attention towards Diana. What? You guys are so cute! She's holding her cheek, gushing over us as she usually does. Stop! It's true, though. Ah, young love. Diana giggles again, and with that, we continue our walk back to our dorms. So, what you got planned for tomorrow? It's a secret. Oh. Don't get any ideas. Oh, I would never. I roll my eyes at that before getting my phone out to show something to her. We're going to a show tomorrow. Ooh, exciting. Kinda surprised. Didn't know you were into that kind of scene. I'm really not. but Damien was so excited that this band was coming to town, I couldn't say no. I pause. Also, I do want to get out of my comfort zone, if even just a little bit.
I getcha. Do you guys need a DD?
Wouldn't hurt. You sure you wouldn't mind?
Not at all. I got tomorrow off. I'll text Damien to let him know.
Thanks, Diana. I appreciate it.
Of course.
We chat about this and that for a little while longer before coming to the split between the dorms. They're not co-ed, so we don't actually live together.
Oh, before I forget, do you want to visit the greenhouse this weekend?
I don't know. I'll have to see how I'm feeling the next morning.
You're not going to have a 2-day hangover? How about Sunday afternoon?
I sigh through my nose. Can't get around it. I have been skimping out helping Diana the past few weekends while I'm figuring out everything on this side of campus. I am already hanging with Damien Friday night, and I do owe her one now. There's really no excuse. Yeah, sure. I'll see you Sunday. Want to meet for lunch, then head over?
It's a date. I'll see you then.
Yeah, sounds good. We wave to each other as we walk down our respective paths home. As usual, I wave to the dorm mother. As usual, I skip the faulty elevator and take the stairs. As usual, I make my way home into my dorm room. I've only been here for about a month, but at least I got this routine down pat. Being in the master's program has its perks. I call it a dorm room, but it's almost like an apartment complete with a kitchenette. What's best is I have the place to myself. Well, mostly. Damien spends the night a lot, too. I toss my bag on the couch before grabbing a glass of water, promptly chugging it. I'm not used to the summer heat around here. As I strip off my overshirt, I look towards the bathroom. I kind of want to take a shower right now, but decide to do it at my usual time right before bed. I sleep better that way. I say that, but I'm gearing up for my afternoon nap without any distractions. I plug in my phone, briefly lighting up the pic of Damien holding me up from behind as I flail in his grasp. I smile at it before flopping face first onto my squishy pillow, not even bothering to pull over the blankets. It's still a bit too hot for that. My eyelids start to get heavy and I fall asleep for my afternoon nap. There's a strange ringing in my head. It's quiet, but just loud enough that I can't ignore it. I'm having trouble opening my eyes. How long was I out? It almost feels like a headache, but it's concentrated only in the back. Lifting my arm is a struggle too. Wait, am I sitting? A groan scrapes my dry throat. How long have I been sitting like this? With all of my might, I lift my hands up to my face and try to rub my eyes open with my palms. Wait, what is all of this I'm feeling? I pull it and it tugs at my scalp. It's my hair. I'm not lucid enough to panic quite yet, or maybe I am and this is just a weird dream. In any case, after some more rubbing, I manage to crack my eyes open. I'm sitting in an alleyway I've never seen before. Even moving my eyes to look around is a struggle at first. I just woke up, but I already feel exhausted. I take a few breaths, which is somewhat alarming. I thought you couldn't breathe in dreams. Regardless, little by little, I start moving what I can. I can wiggle my toes and move my arms. I kind of need to move them as my hair is getting in the way of my vision. I can hold my bangs down to nearly my sternum. The length isn't what's most concerning, though. It's the fact that my hair is almost an unnatural shade of white. That aside, I try to feel around. I'm against a wall, and my next goal is to try to stand up. My joints pop like mad. Seriously, how long have I been sitting here like this? It should not be this hard just to stand up, but my knees are trembling. Nearly hugging the wall with my side, I manage to stand up, albeit quite hunched over. Something slides off of me, but before I can look down to see what it is, I start to stumble. I jerk a bit as a wave of disorientation washes over me. My vision blurs, I can see stars, I feel dizzy, and I can't keep my breathing steady. It doesn't hurt. Nothing does. Not even the sudden upchuck of stomach acid I expel onto the ground below me. I clutch my stomach as I fall to my knees, breathing erratic. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt, but I feel like it should. I'm more confused than scared. I don't have enough time to process what little information I have as I throw up whatever was left in my stomach. It just smells like acid. And just like that, I'm back to sitting against the wall. I shut my eyes, but I can still see colors swirling around the inside of my eyelids. Without any strength, I just sit there and pant. The taste of stomach fluid still comes up from my throat with each breath, burning my mouth. I heave again, but nothing comes out this time, nothing but a guttural belch. Okay, calm down. Calm down, I say to myself, barely recognizing my own voice. Not surprising, it feels like the only thing to wet my throat in decades was my own bile. I clutch my head to try and control the spinning I'm feeling. After several minutes of trying to breathe calmly, my vision starts to settle. I still feel disoriented, but I can at least make out what's in front of me now. Again, I look around, trying to get my bearings. As I noted earlier, I'm in some alleyway. I don't know where, though. Tilting my head up, I can see that it's night. The buildings around me seem to stretch taller than they should. I look further in front of me. There are boxes blocking the alley. They're stacked pretty high. I look down to the ground and something catches my eye. Slowly, I bend over to reach over it, not wanting to upset my stomach anymore, and grab what seems to be a jacket. It's pretty big. I can stretch it out far past something that'd fit me. I wonder who left this here. Were they trying to cover me? Another headache hits the back of my head, and I clutch the side of my face. Ugh, it's starting to feel nauseous again. I rest my head against the wall, and immediately feel uncomfortable. It didn't hurt, but I could tell I shouldn't have done that. I reach for the back of my head. I feel bandages, and a lot of them, along with what I can only assume is crusted up blood. How the hell did I end up like this? The last thing I remember was hanging with Diana and making plans with Damien. I try to recollect more, as much as I can. It's all scattered, like a haze is blocking me from my own memories. Oh, fuck. I exhale with a haggard breath. I'm still hoping that this is just a weird dream, because I can't even remember my own name. I then spend the next half hour alternating between doing breathing exercises and having an existential crisis. The more I think about myself, the more I realize I don't know who I am. I'm thinking clearly, but there's not much to think about. All I know is Diana and Damien are very close to me, and I wish they were here right now. I feel a sort of sadness at all the things I can't remember. All of my relationships and experiences just gone. One thing's for sure, this is no dream. Maybe it's a nightmare? If it was, it'd be the most boring nightmare I've ever had. I say that, but I'm still fairly spooked. I move past the notion that I'm dreaming, however. The sensations I felt since waking up are too real. Even so, periodically I pinch the skin of my forearm. I can definitely feel I'm pinching the skin, but I don't feel any pain. It's basically numb. Same with the back of my head. That blow I must have taken did a serious number on me. It doesn't take a doctor to figure out that's probably why I can't remember anything. Speaking of doctors, I replay the memory of myself and Diana laughing at our professor. It's the only entertainment I have. Well, kind of. I also think back to that earlier memory. I've come to accept the fact it was real. Despite the fact that my eyes were closed, it all felt so visceral to the point that I can say it happened. Someone mentioned my loss of blood, and someone else covered me up. Someone left me here. But who? All I have to go on is this jacket that they left behind for me. It's simple enough, but I don't recognize this style. Not that I can talk about fashion. It's better than what I have on. I can't tell if I'm wearing hospital scrubs or a prison uniform. Wish I at least had some socks. The more I wake up, the more I realize how cold I am. I sigh. Eventually, I look towards the other side of the alleyway. I don't think I could move those boxes easily, if at all. But I should at least try to look for help. I'm starting to get annoyed with my body as I still struggle to do the simplest of tasks. I can hear my panting echo softly through the alley, along with something else. The sound of footsteps. I try to hold my breath. I think someone's on the other side of those boxes. Do I call out to them? Do I hide? Not that there's much room to hide. Whatever's out there starts pulling the boxes out one by one. I don't know what's in those boxes, but they don't look easy to throw around. They're just chucking them like it's nothing. I can feel my knees start to tremble. A chill runs down my spine and my teeth start to chatter. Both my knees give, and I'm back on my ass against the wall. The fear is starting to get overwhelming, and my vision starts to blur again. There aren't many boxes left, and something starts to show between the cracks. A light. A flashlight. Before I know it, the ray of light is completely covering me. It's a task to lift my arms to block the beam, and even harder to keep them in the air. I was already struggling to move without fearing for my life. I don't think I can take much more of this. I'm getting overstimulated. I feel like I'm shutting down. Just as I start to succumb to my panic, the light suddenly shifts. Slowly, I open my eyes, peeking through the cracks in my fingers. The beast man holding the gun moves one step closer.
Don't move,
He says in a gruff, commanding voice. If I was cold before, I'm frozen now. I'm just sitting here, trying to follow his movements the best I can with what little I can see. Through the slits in my fingers, I can ascertain one thing. He's a wolf, and a tall one at that. The wolf circles around me. I can see him clearly on my peripheral. He can see my face now, along with the terrified expression I'm wearing. Gun or not, he could rip me to shreds with just those claws. Not that there's much to rip apart. I don't stand a chance at running in my current condition. Hell, I can barely stand up. So I sit here, waiting to see what he's going to do with me. He's a few feet away, gun still pointing at me. Upon closer inspection, it looks to be the size of a pistol, but it doesn't look like any model I've ever seen. The wolf shifts his head, looking all over my body. My teeth start chattering again, reverberating through the alley. He walks up closer with intent. I shut my eyes, It's all I can do. This is the worst my breathing has been since I woke up. I can feel my empty stomach churn and my dehydrated eyes strain to tear up. The only thing that pulls me out from my panic attack is the feeling of something soft under my chin. He starts to slowly lift my head with his paw. His paw pads feel like worn leather under my chin. His breath is hot on my face. Now more than ever, I wish this was just a dream. The wolf squints his eyes and speaks to me. I can't make it out as the ringing in my ears is too loud. Is all I can muster. The wolf closes his eyes before pulling his hand away. He sits in front of me. We're eye level with each other.
Are you okay?
Huh? He pauses once more before repeating himself again.
Are you okay?
I don't respond. I'm not in the right state of mind to. He seems to pick up on this.
Calm down. I'm not going to hurt you.
The wolf places the gun he was holding on the ground and slides it to the other side of the alley.
See? If I wanted to, I would have already.
That's one gun gone, but what about the one on his back? My eyes veer to it, which he notices.
I'm not taking that one off. It would be too much work.
He states matter-of-factly before switching to a crisscross position.
You're okay. You're okay.
He looks at me in the eyes again before holding his paws apart in front of me.
Breathe in.
He pulls them closer, almost in a clapping motion.
And breathe out.
I'm slowly transitioning from panic to confusion, which I'd say is an upgrade. For some reason, the inflection in his voice sounds weird. He's speaking English, undoubtedly, but something about it is off. I can't put my finger on it. Is it a dialect? Regardless, I do as he says, and start to match my breathing with his movements. We do this for a while, and slowly but surely it seems to be working. With enough time and effort, and with the help of this wolf, I bring myself out of my self-induced panic attack. After one final deep breath, I manage to get back to just breathing through my nose. I'm still breathing faster than I would like to, but it's a start.
There. How are you feeling?
He takes a deep breath as well. I guess that did take longer than it needed to. Tired and dizzy. I finally drop my hands down for a moment before moving to hold my head. It feels like I swapped a panic attack for a headache.
I'm not surprised.
The wolf gets closer to me, to my head. Wow, I really don't like how close he's getting.
You've lost a lot of blood.
Gently, he holds my chin and shifts me to the right, revealing the back of my head. He leans in closer and takes a few sniffs. I can feel his breath again, and I start to get apprehensive. I instinctively pull back. Gentle or not, this really isn't helping with my anxiety.
You're still scared?
Huh? He leans in again. I can feel the wetness of his nose on my forehead as he trails around my head before sniffing around some more.
Sorry.
The wolf says bluntly before he pulls back.
Habit of mine.
Okay.
What's your name?
He asks suddenly. I literally don't have an answer for him. I don't know. The wolf doesn't seem fazed by that.
What do you know?
I don't know. My emotions feel like a metronome, swapping between scared and confused at the drop of a dime. I'd like to believe he's right. If he wanted to hurt me, he would have already. Now that I think about it, I don't think he could hurt me either way, on account of not feeling any pain. Well, that's not true. He could break my legs, and even if I couldn't feel it, I'd be at his mercy. That flash of imagery in my head makes me shudder.
Wait here.
Huh? His voice snaps me out of my imagination. He stands up and moves near the alley entrance. I cock my head as I try to see what he's doing. The wolf waves a paw over his right wrist, and a small screen lights up in front of him. It seems to be coming out of a bracelet he's wearing. I squint, trying to make heads or tails of it. Seriously, where the hell am I? We certainly didn't have this kind of tech back on Earth. Whatever he's doing, he's tapping furiously away on it with his fingers. For a moment, he places his free paw over his chin. He looks deep in thought. All of a sudden, he turns his attention back to me, looking me over once more before typing away again. He waits. Then I hear something. A notification. Then he starts tapping again for about a minute before sliding the screen away.
Okay, can you stand? I'm gonna take you home now. Here.
The wolf walks up to me before starting to get me on my feet. He carefully gets under my armpits and lifts me up slowly, trying to keep me stable.
How's that?
Wait a minute. I stumble nearly to my knees and he catches me.
It's okay. I can carry you if you want.
I said, wait! I raise my voice and the wolf's eyes widen a bit. I push him away, choosing to slump against the wall again. At least I'm still standing, even if barely. Who the hell are you? Where the hell am I? How do you know where I live? Even though my adrenaline from earlier has worn off, I'm starting to get hit with rising paranoia. I barely even know where I live. You can't seriously expect someone with a head injury to just go with someone they don't even know, do you?
Quite feisty for someone with a head injury.
The wolf sighs before walking over, then sits down in front of me again so that I'm looking down at him. I'm kind of glad he did. My knees feel like they're about to give out, and I sit back down on the ground.
I don't know how to explain this without alarming you, but you're going through a fairly common experience around here.
He then taps the side of his head.
Barring the head injury.
What do you mean? The wolf scratches the back of his head.
It's best that you know as little as possible, unless absolutely necessary.
That's a horrible way to build trust. I didn't mean to say that out loud, but I did mean it.
I don't need your trust. I could take you by force if you really want me to.
The fur on his neck bristles and my fear spikes again. He flattens back down before rubbing the back of his neck.
Relax. It won't come to that if you just cooperate. I'll say this. I've done this before, many times.
Done what?
Taking humans home, amnesiac or not.
How do you know where I live? The wolf pauses.
Do you know where Resume is?
No. Should I? The wolf exhales, almost in relief.
Whether or not you do doesn't matter to me. Resume is one of the few cities that's mainly just humans around here.
Okay, so where's around here? The wolf shakes his head.
We can talk about that later. Honestly, we've dallied long enough. Just know that I have contacts there.
He lifts his paw, pointing to that weird bracelet.
I'll confirm the meeting point to get you home safely.
I open my mouth, to which he interrupts.
And before you ask any more questions, I gave a description of your appearance and they matched it up with someone who's missing.
I close my mouth. I guess you have done this before. I'm kind of surprising myself. I'm taking all of this in way too quickly, aren't I? I guess when your head is nearly empty, anything new becomes acceptable. Regardless, I'm going to at least try to remain skeptical. How do I know that you're not just setting me up? The wolf smirks at that.
You don't. What would you be able to do in your current situation if I was, though?
He has a point. Don't know where or who I am. I wouldn't be able to make it far. I sigh. I can't tell if my ears are still ringing or if there are alarm bells going off in my head. I resign myself. I really don't have a choice. Okay, fine. It's not like I trust you, though.
That's wise. I won't do anything to hurt you. You can count on that.
We'll see, I guess. With that out of the way, the exhaustion is starting to catch up. I scoot back to my familiar spot against the wall. I can barely stand up, let alone walk. Not to already impose, but you wouldn't happen to have any food or water, would you? The wolf thinks it over before turning towards the alley, listening.
Yeah, we could probably have a quick bite to eat. Let me just...
He walks over to the pile of crates and starts stacking them again, providing some decent coverage.
There, that should be fine. I doubt anyone will go through the trouble to get through that.
Besides you?
Fair enough.
Actually, that does make me curious. Before the wolf sits down, he plops the bag he had slung on his shoulder onto the ground. It looks a bit weird, almost like a violin case with its angles straightened out. Like an awkward trapezoid. Wait, I'm getting distracted. So, how did you know I was here?
Oh,
The wolf taps his snout with a couple of fingers.
it was faint, but I could smell you a couple of blocks away.
He pauses.
Well, your blood anyways.
I see. Well, why did you go through the trouble of finding me? The wolf takes out what seems to be a canteen and places it in front of me, along with some kind of package wrapped in what feels like plastic. Afterward, he moves to sit next to me against the wall.
I take on a lot of odd jobs. I wasn't looking for you, per se. I was just in the area when I caught your scent.
He takes his own package, ripping it open. Some kind of food?
You should consider yourself lucky. By the looks of it, you wouldn't have lasted another day or two.
Looking over myself, I'd say he's right. I'm skin and bones, with an empty stomach and a concussion. Now that I think about it, I'm kind of surprised I've made it this long. Slowly, I lean forward to pick up the canteen thing. I can feel the liquid inside, but I don't see a way to use it. It's a rectangular shape with no discernible opening.
Whoa.
He looks up from whatever he's eating. There's water in here, right? How do I open it? He swallows.
Oh.
He leans over and slides his finger across the top. A small opening appears.
There. It's got some nutrients in it that should help. Just drink it slow.
I do as I'm told. Maybe it's because I'm so dehydrated, but this water does taste pretty rich. It's almost heavy. I choke on it for a moment, but swallow it down soon, not wanting to waste any of it. I smack my lips a bit, as if it's alcohol.
You okay?
Yeah, just a bit strong.
Just drink it slowly.
I nod, a tad embarrassed for my lack of coordination. Regardless, I'm thankful for the drink. My throat even starts to feel better in just a few minutes. Not wanting to drink it all myself, I mimic what he did earlier to close the canteen.
You know, on second thought.
The wolf reaches over and takes the package he gave me.
Just gonna take a guess that, judging by how you reacted to that water, you could use something a bit lighter to eat.
He rummages once again in his bag before handing me a small parcel.
That should be a bit lighter. It doesn't really taste like much, but it's got some protein.
Curious, I reach over and pick it up. It feels like it's wrapped in paper, though there's no labels. Even with what little strength I have, I open it fairly easily. What's inside kind of looks like saltine crackers, but brown instead of manila. I lift one up and smell it. It's like beef jerky, but only faintly. If I'm being honest, they don't look very appetizing. Beggars can't be choosers, though. I take one of the cracker things and bite into it. Thankfully, he's right, it doesn't taste like much. A little salty and a bit sweet, but not much else. Definitely the texture of a cracker. I'm just glad I got something to drink. After a few minutes of eating, I look over to the wolf. He's enjoying his meal, at least I think he is. Man, how did I end up here? Now that I have time to think, I realize something. I don't recognize his voice from the ones I heard before. I decide to speak up about this. Oh, right. I think there were people who left me here, but I can't really remember. The wolf looks over to me with a curious look.
Do you remember anything about him?
No, not really. Just a little bit of a conversation, probably right after I got this dent in my head. I pat the crumbs off of my shirt and hold up the jacket I woke up with. I have this, but that's it. The wolf looks it over before he grabs it from my hands and smells it. He then scrunches his nose. I guess he didn't like how it smelled because he balls it up and tosses it to the side.
I think it would be best to leave it here. Take my word.
Oh, okay. I start thinking to myself. Whoever left that for me, I think they had my best interests in mind. Their voice seemed reassuring, at least. Although, to be fair, they did leave me here like this. I should be more careful. A voice isn't enough to judge a character. Oh, wait. What's your name? We had such a shaky start that I completely forgot to ask.
My name?
He pauses and then sighs.
Cooper. Just don't tell anyone.
Why?
You ask a lot of questions, you know that?
To be fair, you're making it hard not to.
Just eat your food.
Okay. Once again, I do as I'm told, sitting in this strange alley with this strange beastman eating this strange food. I wonder, how would Damien react to this situation if he were here with me? Betty tried to carry me so we could get as far away from this place as possible. A little fragment flashes through my mind of Damien giving me a piggyback ride. I think he convinced me to play basketball with him, and he whooped my butt. I remember being tired, just not as much as I am now. I sigh. I really miss his piggyback rides. I don't think this resumed place is my home. It's not much, but I have some memories of where I lived.
Oh?
I just don't know how to make sense of all of this.
I'm not surprised.
I just know one thing. I really want to go home.
Well, as far as I'm aware, Resume is your home.
He pauses.
Even if it's not, Resume is known for getting people back to where they belong.
What do you mean?
Well, Resume is a hotspot for humans. Almost a sanctuary. I'm sure they could get you back to wherever you came from.
I hope so. Cooper flicks his ear at that. I guess he could sense my dejection, though I'm not really hiding it. Where do you come from?
Nowhere worth mentioning.
He dodges my question and stands up, listening intently.
I think it's time we head out. How are you doing?
Well, better, but I don't think I'm in any condition to move around too much.
Can you walk?
I grunt as I try to stand up. It wasn't much, but that combination of water and protein crackers is at least giving me enough strength to stand and walk a bit. Kind of, but I don't think for very far or long.
We'll take breaks, and if it comes to it, I can carry you.
Okay. I stretch, popping all of my joints again, but this time it feels really good. Just glad to be off of my butt for a bit.
I should mention it. When we're out of the alley, it'd be best to keep talking to a minimum.
Why? Cooper's stance shifts, looking towards the opening of the alley, then back at me.
There are people trying to find you as we speak.
And that's bad?
Very. I can't disclose much, but I'll say this. Your life will be a living hell if they find you.
Maybe it's just because I'm getting more lucid, but I'm not really fazed by that. That kind of worries me. So wait, are you under contract?
In a sense. As I said, I've done a lot of escort missions. It tends to be easier the less people know.
Well, that doesn't sound skeevy or anything. Cooper looks out to the alley, then back at me.
Look, there's a lot out there. With your current mental state, I don't think it'd be a good idea to overwhelm you.
Maybe, I don't know. I close my eyes for a moment and then take a deep breath. Being left in the dark ain't much better.
You'll be fine. I'm sure you've been through worse.
Wouldn't know. Cooper actually chuckles at that before returning his gaze to the alleyway opening.
Gotta do this in a way that's not suspicious.
I think I'll leave that to you.
Didn't really offer.
Fair enough. After about 5 minutes, he manages to remove most of the boxes fairly quietly. We're free to leave the alley. I'm both nervous and excited. You said we shouldn't talk, right?
Only if absolutely necessary. Whisper if you need to. I'll probably hear it. Why?
Can we write?
Do you have an axiom?
What?
I'll take that as a no.
He points to his bracelet.
I can communicate through this via text, but that's it.
What about pen and paper? Cooper looks at me as if I've said something truly bizarre.
I don't know how to write like that.
Wait, what? I didn't use them much outside of class, but I at least know how. Okay.
Well, you do. Weird.
What the? Like, you're one to talk. I think to myself, grumbling.
Oh, right.
He looks over me again. I'm slowly getting used to that.
What should I call you?
Huh? Oh, I'm not sure. The thought hadn't crossed my mind. What do I call myself? Cooper pauses again, thinking.
Well, until you come up with something, I'll just call you Human.
Okay. Before we officially venture out, we do a bit of cleaning in the alley. Cooper tells me we should try to avoid leaving anything behind, sans that jacket he tossed. Thankfully, there's not much, just the wrappings from our food and... Oh. I forgot Cooper's other gun. It'd definitely lead to trouble if we left something like that lying around. As I'm about to try and pick it up, I think to myself, is it a good idea to touch something like this? Hey, Cooper, you left your gun over here. Is it okay for me to pick it up?
Oh, good call. Yeah, the safety's on, just try not to slide anything on it.
Slide anything? On a gun? Okay, I know my motor skills are a bit rusty, but I should be able to pick up a gun without firing it, right? I gulp. I'm hovering my hand over it inches away before a yellow arm invades my vision.
Relax, you're not gonna set it off.
The wolf casually picks it up and even twirls it.
See?
If you say so.
Here.
Cooper then carefully takes my arm and plants the pistol into my hand. It's cool to the touch and smooth. It almost feels like a smartphone screen. My grip is firm on it, and I don't want to drop it. Still, I do turn it around slowly, getting a decent look at it. It looks cool. It's not what I would normally picture a gun to look like, though. It's sleek and pretty light. However, it's still a gun, and I don't trust myself with it. It's, neat. Here, take it back. Cooper takes it and holsters it back at his hip.
I guess giving you a self-defense weapon is out of the question.
Would that be necessary?
In your position, yes.
Why does whoever they are want me so bad?
Classified.
Figures.
You ready to head out?
As ready as I'll ever be. He takes out his bracelet, or axiom, and starts to tap away at it. Now that I'm close, I can kind of make out what he's doing. The screen is pretty clear, even while being somewhat translucent. I can't make out a lot, though. It looks blurry, almost as if censored. You can read that?
I can. You can't.
He wipes away the screen.
No offense, but I'm not gonna register you in it.
Okay. Whatever that means.
We're going to head to a nearby plaza. It's late, but there should be a shop open.
For what?
I figured you could use a change of clothes.
He grimaces.
Glad I just got paid.
You don't have to do anything. I'll manage.
That's nice of you, human, but it's more out of necessity. Your current getup would be suspicious to just about anyone.
I look down at what I'm wearing. He has a point, although I'm not sure what kind of fashion they have here. If I could choose, probably something with sleeves. The scars along my arms and legs are kind of off-putting, especially to me. Do you have any suggestions?
Yeah, I'm not the person to ask about clothes. We'll figure it out when we get there.
Okay. We both look over the alley, making sure it's empty enough.
Alright, let's start moving. Tug on my sleeve or something if you need anything, and remember, keep quiet.
Okay. With that, we make our way out of the alley. It's hard to tell what time it is, but I'd guess it's after midnight. There's no one out in the streets besides a few cars. Some flying cars at that? Okay, yeah, maybe Cooper was onto something about this scary outside world. What's more is that they're fairly quiet, just a slight hum. We walk on the sidewalk. The material is somewhat warm against my bare feet. I can't tell what it's made out of. It feels weird. I really wish I had some shoes. Cooper walks along this street, keeping me somewhat close to the walls of the nearby buildings. Their walls look sleek and unnaturally smooth. If I had to guess, they look like the same material as that gun Cooper has. The surfaces just look like big phone screens, highly reflective. I don't look long though, not wanting to see my face. We make it a block or two before I tug at Cooper's sleeve. Cooper perks his ear in my direction. I whisper as quietly as I can. Sorry. Break?
Sure.
I lean against the wall behind me, taking a few breaths. I was hoping I'd last longer. The fact that it's the middle of the night doesn't help. I'm feeling pretty sleepy.
Here, this should help.
Before I can ask, he takes out his axiom. I think he draws a circle on the screen. As he does, the outline of a circle lights up on the ground. With another tab, Cooper slides the axiom off. And the cylinder rises from the ground, stopping at about my calf. Cooper must see my stunned expression.
What's the matter, old man? Never been to the city before?
At this point, I don't know if I'm more stunned at what he just did, or what he just called me. Old man? I'm like 26. I spit out in a hiss.
Never seen a human that young with hair that old. And keep it down, would ya?
He's lucky I'm mature, or else I'd call him out for provoking me like that. I stare at him, sticking my tongue out. I huff and sit down on my new seat. It's not very big, but it's enough for me to sit fully on it without sliding off. It's warm, almost like a heated seat. Curiously, I glide my hand along the side. It's almost soft, in that worn, plasticky kind of way. Handy. Cooper rests against the building while I take my break. He's tapping away on his axiom again. I try to look at it some more. I can see some pictures, I think, but that's about it. Looking around, there's not much to talk about in terms of architecture. Most buildings look the same, being eerily rectangular without much detail. The ones that don't look a bit older, but not in terms of architecture. I've never seen this style. They just look more worn out than the rest. Cooper keeps an ear out for the few cars that come our way, but he doesn't seem too worried. Not even for the ones a few stories above us. It's kinda scary, seeing stuff like flying cars all of a sudden. I instantly think about a scenario where one malfunctions and just falls straight on me. Ever the pessimist, I shake my head and stand up. Turning to Cooper, I give him the thumbs up. He gives me a puzzled look before doing it back. Albeit a tad weird, does he even know what that means? This no talking thing isn't gonna work. I sigh before gesturing for him to lead the way. Thankfully, he understands that, and we're walking along again. Once again, I start to think to myself, I've come to accept that I'll be doing that a lot now. Seriously, this place is huge. It's a wonder how people don't get lost around here. There are signs here and there, but with all the buildings looking so similar, how do they make sense of it all? My thoughts get interrupted as Cooper suddenly pulls me into a nearby alley.
What? Shh!
He covers my mouth abruptly and huddles me against the wall. I furrow my brows. Where did this come from? Oh fuck, did he see one of those guards? I can't see anything out of the alley. Cooper's resting on his sides now, blocking me. He pulls me in against his chest, my scrawny chest against his built one. This is the closest we've been. With his paw covering my mouth, I can only breathe through my nose. I never noticed it before, but this dog absolutely reeks. My eyes almost water. His musk is so overpowering. If the guards don't get me, the stench will. Actually, no, guards, please come around the corner. Save me! They don't, as much as I sort of wanted them to. I don't see them, but I hear the clamping of boots behind Cooper. When they stop, my heart drops. They pick up again after a few moments, their steps fading into the distance. When Cooper removes his paw from my mouth, I take in some fresh air as I move a few steps away from him. I glare at him and whisper in a hoarse voice.
Rude! Sorry, they were getting close.
They're not the only ones. I actually spit on the ground, trying to get as much of his musk out of my system as possible. You need a bath.
What?
Come on, let's go. You'd think with a nose that good, he'd have noticed. I don't even give him the time to process that as I pull him out of the alley. Ugh. My bravado ceases quickly, though, as I need him to actually lead me. We don't talk for the rest of the walk, and thankfully no other guards pop up. And that's it. So, let's just take a second and fully realize that yes, this is probably where some of the stereotypes come from. Or maybe it just plays on it, I don't know. This is one of the older visual novels. I say older, it's like 2 years old. 2 years? 2 years. Time is an impenetrable illusion. We will never understand it. But I just like the way this one begins. You get the sense of mystery from the whole voices in the character's head. We don't even know his name yet. The flashback scene, where we assume is a flashback scene, or some kind of dream. We don't know what it is really. But it's a school scene with the main character, his friend Diana, and his boyfriend Damien, and we automatically get to see that this is a world in which, like, humans and the furry characters, the beastmen they call them, just coexist. So the sight of a wolf in whatever world this is, walking up to the main character, no longer becomes really any point of mystery at all. The main character is just expected to see someone, and the fact that he's a wolf doesn't really make it any weirder. Which I think is a nice derivation from the whole, oh my god, an animal person? That you see in a lot of very visual novels. But yeah, this was a long time coming. I really love this one. This is, obviously it's my first, as I said before, so it's got a little bit of nostalgia bias in my heart, but it's good. It's cool. I like it. And it's got a cool animated sequence here. Very fun. So, let's summarize what we have. We have a human who is scrawny as hell, covered in injuries, no idea who or where he is, and a yellow wolf who is his bodyguard now? In this cyberpunk dystopia kind of thing. And we also have Diana and Damien, and a university, sort of parallel to this. So we're setting up for some very good content. A lot of you probably know where this all goes. I'm trying to keep it vague on purpose for the people who don't. So if my descriptions of these things is frustrating, I deeply apologize. Get used to it. It is going to be that way until we get to the later chapters. Because spoilers! But yes, that's going to be it for this episode. Thank you all very much for watching. I will be leaving links, as I usually do, in the description to where you can support this project and the creators. And there are a lot of places to support this project, so I'm going to do my best to try and get as many of them as possible, but if I miss some, I apologize in advance. You might point me in the directions or correct me on any mistakes. And obviously, I will be leaving links in the description to places where you can support me, if you want to. I have a Twitter account you can follow, I have a Ko-fi if you want to be generous and donate to that, and maybe you might like this video, subscribe to the channel. I recently noticed that I now have 180 subscribers at time of recording. That is ridiculous. The last call out I did was for 100. Where the fuck are you people coming from? Hello? You all really like the socially awkward video, the most recent socially awkward video I did. For some reason. I'm glad you liked it. Why that one? But you know what? I won't question it. I'm very glad to have you on board, and I thank you so much for supporting me. And I would like you to go and support Icefang as well. I'm going to link to that video that I was talking about at the start of the episode in the description. I'm going to link to his channel. Please go and support him. He's a really good friend of mine. He's so nice. He's so kind. He's very talented. And he's a Discord server, if you want to join that. But that is more than enough rambling out of me for now. Thank you all very much for watching Remember the Flowers, as read by Pink Wisp. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care.